Hello everyone, how are you all? I hope you are having a wonderful week. For those of you who are new to my channel, I am Miriam and my channel is MiriamsManner. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with me today. On my channel, I do mostly everything Christmas, especially Christmas villaging. But I also do bring in some nuggets with home decor, tablescapes, and gardening. So click on that subscribe button, join our awesome group of folks that we have here, and we would like to say a big hello and welcome. So today's video is for Christmas villaging. I am going to be showing you guys how to do spiral topiaries out of styrofoam. This again is inspired by the formal garden space that I want to create in my bed and breakfast scene that I will be starting probably in about another month or so, but I'm getting some of the groundwork and preparation laid for that now, for that build. So I'm going to bring you guys in for a little bit of a closer look so you can see exactly what I'm doing, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to begin, I have 4 styrofoam pieces that are about 6 inches in length and about an inch and a half deep on pretty much both sides. So I'm going to be using these 4 bars to make my spiral topiaries out of. I am going to begin with a Sharpie marker. Now I have tried to do this freehand as well as with an outline, and I do find that drawing out my pattern first definitely helps me. So what I'm going to do is start at the base in the corner here and just draw some lines up this way. All right. So now that that is on all the way around, I am going to be using my hot knife and my router for this project from Hotwire Foam Factory. I will go ahead and link Pat's information below. She is the rep that I work with. I don't get paid from her. I just love to send everybody her way to order these tools because she's really knowledgeable at what she does, and she can truly help you put together a good package for your crafting needs. Okay, so now I am just going to follow my outline here and take my hot knife and just make a straight indentation. Now I do want this to be a little bit deep, but not deep enough to where you're hitting the center of the block. So just go in, if you can see that, about maybe like 1/8 of an inch to begin with. We can widen them later, a little bit later if we need. But everything you want to work with these topiaries is just very gradual, because if you work it gradually, you can fix any errors or mistakes that you make along the way, versus if you go too deep to begin with, you kind of have to start over with a new piece of foam. Trust me, I've tried it a couple of times already. Okay. So I grabbed another piece and started over with my lines because I feel like I messed up the last one. I accidentally went a little bit too deep with my router and kind of took a chunk out. So I'm going to start over again from the beginning with this part and carve this out again. And I'm always going to start at this corner, and I'm just going to always work my way up each side. Okay, so you can see how lightly I am doing this on each of these sides. I am not trying to take a lot off at a time. I really want this to be a gradual incline. So this does take a little bit of time to make these because you are working this process slowly and carving these out by layers. But It's definitely worth it to do it this way so that you don't have to keep starting over with a new piece, because once you cut a little bit too deep into this, it is a little bit more difficult to fix. So it's easier just to work gradually with all of your sides. And I'm not jumping ahead of myself with this. I'm literally following the lines as I drew them. That's the most important thing to this, I think, is to make sure you're following the line pattern that you created for yourself when you drew it out. Okay, so you can start to see this taking shape a bit, how you can see how it's just going to keep going up. And you literally just slowly keep walking this thing up in the same manner. Now I'm going to take this straight in and start, actually this is my starting point right here at this corner. And I'm just going to kind of deepen that line in there just a little bit. And then also up top, deepen that in there just a bit. And I'm just lightly tapping the blade all the way around where I want to kind of deepen that curvature in here. This is a delicate dance, you guys. Do this so very gently. Just kind of like lightly let your blade tap in an angled manner and let it take away those edges for you. And keep following that same type of pattern, that upward angle pattern, just deepening those lines. You want to think smooth and caressing motions with this. Nothing harsh or fast. You want to smoothly do this. Okay, so when we take a step back and look at it again, when we start from our front, you can see again, it's just taking shape more and more. So you just keep following that same process over and over again until you kind of have it the shape that you want. Now you can see mine is still a little bit boxy on here, and I am going to fix that once I'm satisfied with kind of getting my carve outs where I want them. I will definitely clean up any areas that I feel are a little bit too boxy for my liking. But for now, I'm just focused on creating this shape on the inside in that spiral manner. Okay, so now that we've also kind of made it towards the top, I am going to show you how I work the top. Now it's coming around from this way, so I'm just going to begin to take this whole piece off because I want this to kind of come around like in a point. So this piece up top here, I'm going to work it and kind of do one of these motions. So I do know it's thinning this out up here, but it's okay. I want to just bring this whole side to a point in the very front. Now, I am going to keep mine pretty thick because of where I'm putting them. But if you want to begin to kind of round out these edges now just a bit and kind of soften that curve on the sides right there, just gently tap those down so that you can begin to round out that shape a little bit more so that it's not so boxy on the sides. And if you do make a mistake where you do kind of dent it in on accident, you can always put more greenery there in that spot and build up some of the clump foliage in that spot so that it kind of hides the fact that there's a dent in the styrofoam there. And the shape of this also, again, you're not trying to make sure that this is smooth because you're putting clump foliage over this. So the surface area itself doesn't need to be smooth at all. It's just the shape that you're more concerned about, getting it to the shape that you want it to be before you do the painting and adding the foliage. Now, also, I am leaving mine flat, but that's only because where I am placing them, okay? Because they're gonna meet up with another bush here. So I don't want mine to be rounded at the bottom. But if you want to round yours at the bottom, then take a chunk of this off and begin to round that too. But for my sake, for my garden, I don't want this to be too rounded. I'm just going to take off a bit. See, I just took off a larger chunk than I wanted to right there, but it's okay. But this part is going to stay completely flat for me, but I will at least begin to take this back just a tad. And see, if you can look at it and when you're doing it, see that it's going up like this in here. Try to always create that with every time you're going up into the next one so that you give that kind of realistic look to your shrubbery. And you also want to make sure you do create enough space between your gaps, because as you fill this with the clump foliage, it will fill in some of this. So you want to make sure that these gaps are large enough so that when you fill it in, that you do keep the shape that you're going for. All right, so I am just going to again keep working this back a little bit and get my shape the way that I want it. But you guys get the picture at this point. Like you see, I'm just slowly taking away in places. As I'm constantly rotating this thing, I'm rotating it to see where I don't feel I have a smooth transition. Like right here, this up here is bigger than this. So I need to take some of this off because they get a little smaller towards the top as they round up. So you want to make sure that you have that in mind as well, that your layers are getting slightly smaller as you're working them upward. So this is the kind of stuff that I'm constantly playing with, you guys, because I always have these ideas in my head on what I want to do next for my Christmas village. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to create that? Because I can't find that anywhere to buy. So then I start playing around with different things and start doing this. And then coming up with ways to make new things to show to you guys. So it's a lot of fun for me going through my creative process because For some people, it might seem like madness, but for me, it's definitely calming and relaxing and fun for me to come up with new ways to do a lot of this stuff. Okay, and I think I'm gonna call this pretty good. You can see how this, if you keep turning it all the way around, how it's perfectly spiraled. So I think I am going to call this good and get ready for paint. Okay, so now I'm just gonna mix some brown and some green paint together to get a little bit closer to the shade of my coarse turf that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to do equal parts of green and equal parts of brown. I was checking to make sure none of that splatter got on my black shirt. I just thought, oh my gosh, you don't have a painting shirt on. I usually always wear a shirt when I paint that already has a ton of paint on it. But I forgot to change my clothes. So I am gonna have to make sure I work very carefully today so that I do not get super messy. Yeah, that's close enough. So then I'm just gonna paint this. And I'm going to make sure to paint in all the little crevices on the inside as well. And in some of the areas, you really wanna make sure you push the paint into the styrofoam so that none of the white shows through when you go to put the coarse turf over this, because you don't want any white spots showing through in your topiaries. That definitely will not be a good look. I almost made it to the very top. I need a little bit more paint. I'm gonna put this wax paper in front of me so that if this green splatters again, it doesn't get me. I tend to be a little bit of a messy crafter, and it's a-okay with me because I paint in a room where I have wood floors where everything is wipeable, and my hands are always washable. And so I just usually at least have the appropriate clothes on, but not today. Okay, and then I'm just gonna take a step back and look at it from all angles to make sure that, oh, see, I found a spot. That paint is in every little crevice. So definitely turn it around in every direction to take a look at it. Make sure you didn't miss any spots, especially underneath. All right. And with that, I think I'm good. So I'm going to leave this to dry. I did put quite a bit of paint on it, so I'm probably going to sit and let it dry for about an hour. Okay, so it's actually been several hours later. I had to pick up my kids from school. My family came over for a visit. So now I am finally going to get back into this project. So I know the lighting might look a little bit off, but I am shooting this in the evening at this point. So I am going to take some white glue and I'm just gonna put it on the same paper plate that I painted with and paint up this entire topiary now with this white glue. And if you saw me do the other topiary video, just know again that this the glue does dry clear, so don't worry about it showing through. But you do want to apply a generous amount of glue, especially in the crevices of this topiary. Oh, dang it, I did it again. I should have actually put my wooden stem through here. Now I'm going to have to wait for all of this to dry before I put the stem through, but it's okay. I skipped that step. The wooden stem, your branch for the trunk of this tree, should actually have gone in here first, just because it makes it a lot easier to insert, but it's okay. We'll go ahead and work with the way we did it now. So the glue is all applied. I have a fresh piece of wax paper, and at this point I am taking my Woodland Scenics coarse turf, and I'm actually going to open it from the large side and just begin to pour this on. Once I have like a decent amount of it on, I'm going to put it on here and just kind of lightly tap it down onto the spiral. It'll help it adhere a little bit better to all the glue that you just put on. Okay, so you can see right here where you have some excess, that where it's going to make you lose the shape of your topiary, you can kind of just run your finger in there and make sure there's not too much in between your cracks so that you do not lose that beautiful spiral shape. Allow this about 2 to 3 hours to completely set and dry, and then come back and check on it. Okay, so this is mostly dry at this point, and now all I have to do is add my dowel rod that I did go ahead and paint brown already. I did go ahead and carve a hole at the bottom, just going straight in with my hot knife so that I can place this dowel rod in there without it causing too much damage trying to shove this through. So now I'm just going to gently glide this through all the way up to the top so you can see a little bit of the branch throughout this. Now, as you can see, this is why this step should be done before you add the greenery, because you can see a little bit of the white styrofoam balls that were caused with me pushing this stem up through the styrofoam, but it's okay. You can just grab some tweezers and tweeze out the little bitty styrofoam balls that do pop up, and then it'll be as good as new. All right, and there we have it, a cute spiraled tree for a formal garden space, or just to add a little flair and a little bit of a different interest in your village space. Like I said, it's always nice to have a variety of different trees in your village. I do feel like it creates awesome visual interest throughout. It just gives your eye just different places to land at, all of the different things that are capturing your eye when you're looking at the actual landscape itself and not just the buildings. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I had a blast really challenging myself in making this. I do also want to encourage you, if you tried this a couple of times and you feel like, God, I just can't get this. I myself did this 3 times before I got it right. I just didn't give up because I knew that I really wanted this look in my garden space. So I kept just working at it and perfecting it until I got it to a point that I was satisfied with. So if you don't do it right the first time, just keep trying it. Grab some scrap pieces so you don't feel like you're wasting styrofoam, and just keep at it if you really love this look. If you feel like you just can't get them, I might be offering this for sale on my Etsy page, and I will take custom orders for those of you who just don't want to tackle this on your own. I will probably be offering these for sale like in a package of maybe 2 or 4. I will also be spraying this with some Woodland Scenic cement so that I adhere everything on the outside so it stays nice and the foliage lasts like this for years to come. So if you guys have any questions for me, leave me a line in the comment section. Don't forget to give me a big thumbs up for this video. And until I see you again, stay safe, God bless you, and I will see you soon. Bye.